Welcome, everybody. Hello there.
Good.
Hello.
Hey, good
How
evening.
are you?
All right. 34 degrees in central Indiana.
Oh
Nice
goodness, no.
snow.
It's
So,
pretty warm in Florida, so come on down.
yeah, right. There you go.
From here in North Georgia, we're actually warmer than usual. So
Yeah.
nice.
Good to see everybody.
Yeah,
Oh,
you guys as well. I hope you guys had a great week.
yeah, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
Been busy like always. What about you, Mike?
Starting to wind down a little bit for a few weeks. Had our last official day of school for the semester yesterday, and still got a couple ball games before Christmas. But other than that, looking forward to a break. The grandson and son and daughter-in-law be coming to town the end of the week, and then when they get done visiting in about 4 or 5 days, then we're going to probably follow them down to Florida for a few days and
Oh, that's
try to enjoy a
wonderful.
break.
That's
That is a
great.
So,
great.
Welcome to the free state of Florida. Come on down.
hey, I love Florida. They spent about 20 days this past summer down there. My son and daughter-in-law and grandson are down there, and
East
they
Coast or West Coast?
they're north. They're just about 30 miles west of Jacksonville. He works out of Jacksonville.
Oh, that's great. That's
Little
so.
North Florida
Yeah.
town called McClenny is where they're
Okay.
about halfway between Jacksonville and Lake City. So
Yeah, I'm
Gotcha. Yeah.
just getting my bearings. Moved down here a couple of years ago, but if you go down a little bit southern of that, past Daytona, you're gonna
where
get
you
some
at?
good Bigfoot sightings.
Where you at?
I'm in West Palm Beach, so
Okay, you're a little
uh,
further south.
yeah. So, but had a couple of reports actually. I
Recent.
went with a couple of buddies. They're part of a gun club, and they went to a night armament in Titusville. So they invited me because they did the shirts
Okay,
for them, and it worked out perfect because right by Cape Canaveral was in last July a Bigfoot sighting, male, about
Oh,
7, 8 feet tall.
wow.
And I was able to do a little Bigfooting while these guys were doing some other stuff. The only problem is it went into a restricted space where you get the government signs, and
Right.
so now I'm in contact with a couple of my friends and family in the government saying, "Can you get me in there?" So
yeah.
hopefully,
Well,
maybe Santa will give me something.
I'll spend time. We'll go visit them. Then we'll go down to Daytona for a few days. I'll spend some time in Daytona every year, just about
Yep.
in that area.
No.
And and I'm hearing that there's activity just west of Flagler, just north of there, and that's not
Wow.
far from where I stay. So I'm gonna try to get up there, get a day off from all the vacation stuff, and just go do some looking around. But
So there's a road that goes west. I think it's 4, and it cuts
yeah,
across by Daytona.
right.
That there's a couple of Bigfoot researchers down here, and they said that is a very heavily traveled Bigfoot, route. So there's a lot of Bigfoot
Wow.
sightings around there. So you get to see some good stuff. Hopefully,
Really cool.
That's
yeah.
awesome. The,
I'm coming to Florida.
I just hope they're as friendly down in Florida as they are here in Missouri. These guys
I
in
think
Missouri are
are
very,
they
very friendly
cranky?
with us. So
Are,
it's it,
are they cranky?
you know what I mean. I think they're not as cranky as like the Ohio Grassman, who doesn't
yeah,
get
Yeah.
that much traffic.
Yeah, the
That's
ones
like,
down in East Texas
yeah,
too are.
that's super aggressive, like the Yeti. But in Florida, you have two different things going on. You have the typical Bigfoot that we all know and love,
right.
and then you
Right.
have the skunk ape,
Yeah.
which is more orangutan. Those are very, very aggressive
Okay.
because again, they live in the swamps for the most part.
Right.
And then I believe there is a hybrid between the two. So
Would the hybrid go more westward, do you think, or is it in the same area as well? Do you think like that's in other states like Louisiana, other swamp states? Do you think it's more like a skunk ape as well, or maybe a hybrid?
I mean, I think you got both actually.
I would think
I
that.
yeah, I don't really think it's like this. The quintessential Bigfoot in every state. I
I
think
need
there
to
are, around, and I'm gonna guesstimate from what I've seen in evidence. There's about around 9 different variants of this
right,
cryptid, and
right,
then you get that, and that's your traditional Bigfoot, right? So
right,
you get more that lean towards what would be Caucasian based, not like they're white. I'm just saying there's
yeah,
certain features that are simple. Then you get
right.
the African based, then you have an Asian based, then you get like a mix. But I believe the skunk ape as well as the Bigfoot, I think they can intermingle, and they have, and so then you get like a hybrid, which is a little bit of each.
Well,
Um,
you would think as they overlap that yes, you're going to get hybrids.
yeah,
Um, and in different states and different regions, also regionally they change. It's almost like they're cousins of the other.
yeah,
Um, so
it's
it does based on climate and region. I think that does play a part in. I know
oh yeah,
up here in LJ, like I'm between LJ and Blue Ridge, so I'm in a big hot spot right by the National Forest.
oh yeah.
Definitely, they're big. Um, not really aggressive per se, but they're really big.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, don't they talk about like you get the howlers?
yes,
There's screamers, there's howlers. Each little area along Appalachia,
hmm
as you're going up, gets a little bit something different.
they whistle here. They definitely whistle here.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Absolutely.
The mimicking is off the chart, and it's awesome
Yeah,
when you hear it.
yeah, yeah. It
And they're
is.
super good at it.
It's hard,
That
it's
yeah.
hard to walk into some places here and not get watched. I mean, they're watching.
Oh,
It's
they've got eyes on you. They do.
Yeah,
They
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
you
they sure do.
and
I was explaining to somebody, when you have an interaction with these things, we each have our own address, we'll just say. Okay. It's kind of like a computer or your phone. You have a electronic ID number, and
mhm,
it's specific to that phone. But each one of us, because there is some currents going through us,
yeah,
electricity that makes up the body. And when you see the aura, that's like your Wi-Fi, and you can tell right off the bat from the aura what you're dealing with, and who, leopard doesn't change his spots. If you're nasty, they know it. But
it's
if you
gonna.
have a good vibe and a good feeling, they
Yep.
know it. And for some reason, they know you're coming. They're like, okay, this one's cool. Let her come in. Yeah, she's good.
So your
She smells
intention.
good too. Come on, let her come
Yeah.
in. Yeah,
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Interesting, and I would have to agree with that 100%.
I mean, that's just my personal research.
Yeah.
I haven't figured out
What?
if, I mean, my interactions with them down south New York State, Connecticut, and a little bit in between, even a PA. I'm kind of getting the same interaction. So I'm wondering if they're a collective and somehow they share the same consciousness. It sounds crazy, and they know
It does.
who's who.
It's just crazy. I mean, even if not that, if the fact that they are so good at telepathically communicating, which
Yeah,
brings in maybe like infrasound. I know everybody knows who Ron Moorhead is, and
yeah. I know Ron
yeah.
personally.
right, exactly. And so
Yeah,
feelings on. I mean, if you've read Quantum Bigfoot, his ideas on infrasound, and that's an amazing book, by the way.
yeah. Oh,
But
I highly recommend it.
really truly believe that there are more things going on and they have more ways to communicate than we are aware of. And
Yeah, yeah. You are spot on. Keep going. Keep going.
just my feelings. I've been researching and not just not armchair, but I've been field researching for a while. And studying for a long time about this. And there's a lot that your average person doesn't know. The person they come up here and like, I'm going to go out in the woods and look for Bigfoot, when it's like, okay, no, you're not.
Doesn't work that way.
Good luck. Good luck looking for him.
Go for it.
Yeah.
You have all these shows and things. It's yeah, it does. I don't.
It's interesting about that.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for such a long time that I keep my notes and I have a hypothesis, and then I get answers. And let me tell you, with every encounter, I'm like, okay, we got to restart a little bit here and there. We got to redo something here. We got whatever. But I remember because I studied physics. I was going to be a physicist or an astrophysicist, and I had an experience in 2015 that changed everything. Bigfoot went from point A to point B 2 miles down at the other end of a lake in an instant.
Holy.
And no change in the gate, the sound. It's whoop, whoop, whoop. There was no change. It was the same creature. And at that point, I was like, okay, the only way you kind of can do that is if you can open up a portal, step in and come out where you want. So, and there's other things that lean me towards that, but I do believe they're flesh and blood creatures that have the innate ability to morph into a different form, including go interdimensional or whatever to create a portal.
I believe there's a lot to be said about the interdimensional part of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
These are Gigantopithecus, relics.
Oh,
yeah. They're not, they're not primates that have not been discovered.
Right.
It's way beyond that, and they are far more intelligent, which is why you hear so many accounts of hunters or people who are armed and have a bead on one, and they can't shoot them because they say it's human,
Yeah.
And not to mention the fact that, if you get into the infrasound part of it, and them having the ability to use that to, make a person black out or to hallucinate or go into the woods. That, if they have the ability to do that, then if someone's pointing a weapon at them, which they know what that is, then they have the ability to make it stop,
Yeah. It's interesting. Infrasound affects people differently. Many, many moons ago, my parents' cousin, he was a musician, so he was in Beatlemania and he did some other stuff. But one night we were sleeping. I was like, whatever, I don't even know how old, young, and he started playing the theme to The Exorcist. And this is when I first heard about infrasound. He said there's one of the guys that is doing the mixing. He put the reason why it was so creepy is he used infrasound at certain frequencies that really prey on your nerves. And that's what made it so, besides the fact it's about demon possession, but he goes, that was really the key to it. So I knew about infrasound for a long, long time. And the only other time I've really heard it was and came up with it was in researching Bigfoot. And we got bombarded heavy by one. Because they wanted us out of that area because they wanted their family to cross in. They were kind of cutting through. And we weren't leaving. And it was like this pressure was building and this, semi-anxiety. You could feel it. And when we didn't move, as soon as it left, it went away.
Yeah, you can feel it. Really can. There are animals that we know of now that science has proven that do use infrasound to stun, prey or to get away.
Yeah.
So we know that this is possible. It's likely actually. So
I think there's a couple of pets like dogs that actually do it too.
There are
elephants use it. Some big cats use it.
Yeah. Tigers.
Yep.
There are several animals that do.
Like seeing a paw that's this big with razor blades on it isn't enough. I'm done. the hell with that. I'm out. But yeah, if you don't know, this is the thing. There's a lot of people that don't investigate and don't go in the woods, or
Right.
they do the stuff they see on TV with things, and it's like that's not going to float, folks.
Nope.
Yeah. So, we always had the same people like, well, if I was there, I would have ran at it. Now, if you were there,
Right.
you'd be screaming like a little girl. Okay.
Yeah.
I know, because as
Yeah.
I say, I've had interactions with Bigfoot that are depends moments.
Right.
Okay. And
Yeah.
it's and I always use the analogy. Remember Bubbles the chimp, right? Michael Jackson held Bubbles the chimp, little cute chimpanzee. That
Huh?
chimp, when it was a baby, without even thinking about it, could rip your arm off your body.
You
Yeah.
could.
Okay.
Yeah.
Multiply that chimp, maybe 2 feet tall, and then add another 10 feet to it, or 8. They rip heads of bulls off. It's
Yeah.
just a fact. So you should be fearful, but don't tell me
I
you're going to run right into it.
No. No.
Yeah.
And
How many of us are fearful though?
I think it depends, if you get them when they're in that rut stage, right? Young punks,
Oh yeah. We
that
talked
they're, pardon the expression, they're horny like a 15-year-old
about
year old.
juveniles,
And
juvenile males. Yes.
yeah, then it gets a little bit, it can get really intense because you don't know what they'll do. But most of the older ones, or the younger curious, they're looking, behind the trees. The older
Yeah.
ones have been there, done that. It's they can really get aggressive. And if you have women on your team, which sometimes I have women coming in, it's always good to have, because
It's a good thing to have. That is
yeah,
that it's a good tool. A woman is
100%.
basic.
They
It
have
works.
they look good and they smell good, and also, pardon the expression, they cycle and they smell it. It's the same thing with every animal that's female and male. They know when they're in, they call it heat.
Well, I've done that. I've
Yeah,
done that. You kind of use myself as bait by
yeah.
myself, and it gets results. It does.
No, it's good though,
It is.
and there's always these stories of people, I know of several female encounters, and these creatures are almost trying to court the
Yep.
female.
Mm-hmm.
I've had encounters where kids used to go camping in the woods, a campsite, and they used to play with the hairy kids.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think they're playing with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's just like, if you see this up close and personal, it can get nerve wracking. I mean, I did one last year on the west coast of Florida, and by the time we got back to camp, which we should never have left because all the action was there,
Right.
it was so hot. When it gets, I mean, super hot, super humid. I'm wearing all longs, and I'm like, I'm
Right.
super tired. If I went in my tent that was really low to the ground, you'd have to call a wrecker to come in and pick me up. I mean, I couldn't move. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to sleep in my car tonight. I shut the lights off and I turned it on, keep the air on just to cool down. But my car kept, dinging after 30 minutes. We're going to shut off. So I was like kind of sleeping, but not sleeping.
Yeah.
In the pasture window, which was closest to the woods, because we rented a campsite. So you could park like 4 cars there. And there's like a wood barrier, so you can't go further into the campsite. I'm on the furthest to the right next to these woods. And you could sidestep into it. So I'm in my car and I have my sweatshirt on and I'm just loving the AC and I'm super tired. We left at 11:30 at night. We didn't get back till 4:45 in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a long, long trip. And I was just so tired that I was in the car and I just felt that feeling you get when you're close by, they're close by. And
Yeah.
I kind of had my eyes closed a little bit and I looked over and condensation was building on the outside of the windows. But it was kind of like that Jurassic Park moment where when they breathe on the glass and it kind of you could see the. So I saw it over there, and I knew I was being watched from the passenger side, and I just had my hand on my gun, and I'm like, dude, watch me all you want. I'm just too damn tired, and I went to sleep, But I only slept for about 2 hours. But when I got up and I went around the car, in the ground were huge knuckle prints, like they were resting on their hands right by my window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
right there.
Right. That's freaking great.
Yeah, it was good, but it had a voyeur, like, who's this guy? Someone watching you when you sleep. It's weird.
Well, they're probably wondering who the hell is parked in my freaking yard sleeping.
Well, yeah, like about a year ago, my buddy who invited me out there, another Bigfoot researcher, creature man. His name's Stevie Strings. He's a great guy, amazing guitarist, and good, Bigfoot researcher. He went out. This is one of his spots where he went in the West Coast, and they kind of had one of those bike racks that folds down, where you can kind of like either fold it up, fold down. So they kept it down because they had their bikes, and they're at the campfire, and they heard this ruckus. I'm like, what the hell, And when they went there, I mean, by the time it's not a too long a walk, but it's a long enough where if something's in the parking lot, it can walk away. It's a gated area. It's private gate, so you have to undo the lock and to get in. So they noticed that there was a Bigfoot. It didn't see the bike rack or know what the hell it was, and it tripped over it. And they had a huge handprint on the window. So they took a picture of the handprint. But that thing must have been like, hitting your toe in the middle of the night. Son of
Oh man.
All I can think of is hitting your shin on a trailer hitch.
Exactly the point.
Yep.
Yeah. So this thing was like, oh.
I'd hurt. I'm surprised it didn't make a sound.
They're really good at concealment. Right?
Wow.
I mean, I would have been like screaming bloody murder at that point. Yeah. That would have hurt like hell because I've actually done that with the bike rack, and I'm like, oh my God. I could just see like one of them hits it, the other one's like just puts his hand over its mouth, like, just
drags them off. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just interesting,
It is.
Have any of you ever had mind speak?
Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't. So I'll let Cindy elaborate on that.
Yeah, please do, because I'm waiting for that moment.
Yeah, I have. I took actually it was my husband at the time out to a place. We've been a couple times, but every time we go, we get things thrown at us.
Right.
And like I'm thinking, okay, we didn't even have to go like into where the area. It was just when we get to the entrance over. It was where you go into like the national forest, and there was a I don't know what to call it. Where hunters have to go and like they have to go and tag their animals and take them,
right.
Really stuff. So that's across the street, and even right there, it's like gated off because it's not the time of year. It's off season, and we would always get things thrown. Well, we went off into the woods one night, and we got like bigger things thrown at us. I had two other people with us, but I was told to get him out of the woods.
Oh, really?
Wow.
I was, and it got. I was like, okay, we need to go. We need to leave. I didn't tell anybody else that. but the two other people that were with us were, one of them was in the front, and then my husband was in front of me. We heard a scream. I mean, it was a yell. It was so freaking loud. But where it came from in front of us, and the people in the back swear it came from behind us. And we were only probably 5 feet away from each other, at a time. And it was really strange the way that we all heard it. But it once that happened, there were limbs and all sorts of things to the left and to the right that were breaking on both sides.
Yeah.
And I was told repeatedly, get him out, get him out. They did not like him. He did not have good intentions, I guess. And from what I felt, they felt like he was a threat to them. And they wanted him out. I've gone there without him and never had any problems, and everything be nice. And even the other two people, I gone and had no problem with him. No, I could not. He could not go there anymore.
Is this your husband right now?
No.
Well, they gave you a little precursor, huh?
Yeah, Cindy got the hint.
Yeah, Cindy got the hint real well. It's like, you know what? Bigfoot don't like you. I don't either.
Always.
It's kind of like those dogs. Those dogs with certain people, they just get a vibe about them.
Right? They sure do.
Scripted relationship advice. So they're right.
Yeah, I mean they feel it. I'm gonna say it. They may not come. People may not come to you, and they may like, oh, he doesn't seem bad. But you really don't. You never truly know someone.
No.
Unless you were born with them, like a twin.
Right.
And those are like to be opposite ends of this. But like, one's the good twin, the other one's the bad twin. It's a good cop, bad cop, or whatever.
You're right.
But there's some people that you think, oh, well, this guy's great, and they can be very, very nice to you. But they deep within them is this energy or a life thing, or you don't want to have to go through it. And it's the same story. It doesn't matter if it's male or female. Actually, he was so sweet. What do they always say about like the people that go off the deep end? Oh, he's such a nice guy. He was really quiet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody loved him.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Now you know.
Exactly.
That would have been like a what is it? A Weekly World News article. Bigfoot saves me from horrible marriage. Or
It's like, why don't you want my husband out here with me? It's like, what's going on there?
Oh, should have listened.
They warn you though, and again, like that throwing of stuff at you is sometimes it's playful. Little ones are playful because they can hit you anytime they want. They're that good with it. But when they start throwing bigger things,
it's when it's like, I'm talking like limbs coming.
Yeah, I got a guy in the state of Florida that had an experience, and he doesn't have anybody to go investigate with.
Yeah.
And he said last time I was there, they threw a tree limb at me, and I said I'll go up with you, but maybe at that moment they'll tell me get him out of here, and I'll be like, yes, mind speak, finally,
Exactly.
After all these years, no problem. What's the secret to life? Get him out of here. We'll tell you. That's what I'm looking for. So yeah, or if they have young in the area, they're gonna be very aggressive. I've been in those.
Me too.
Or if there's a great, I forgot what state it was. Woman was like, they had one of these houses in the mountains type of thing, and she's every night she goes up a logging road to walk her dog. And the dog was acting really weird, didn't want to go, right? So she's walking, and as it's getting further in, it's whimpering, it's doing things, like they sense something. And she says that she was getting rocks thrown at her. Like, what the hell is this, And she gets to a point and she sees a Bigfoot. And she's freaked out. The dog's like probably crapping himself at this point, and he throws a rock at her. It's like, go, get out, stop, don't go further.
Yeah.
She freaks out and she gets a little disoriented. She said, and she went further down the trail. And then when they got down at the end of the, further down the trail away from the Bigfoot, running from it, they came upon a dogman.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So the Bigfoot was warning her, don't go further, And then she said that more rocks came from over her head from behind her, and she backed out the other way. She saw something big, and it went up towards the dogman area. So there was probably like a wrestling match or whatever. But it seemed like the Bigfoot wanted to save her, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's
not the first time I've heard of something like that. That's interesting.
So
I always thought the throwing things. I've had it teasingly done to me. Just little hickory nuts or so, just a toss and a toss and a toss. Sometimes like a bigger log or so, like a maybe a firewood size log. I've seen it tossed as a diversion.
Yeah.
Get your attention over there while they're getting the kids out of the way over here. Get back to cover or so, and I've seen that, but never have had the aggressiveness toward me to where I need to just turn around and go the other way. It's now I've done that a few times early on, thinking, okay, I better get out of here, but not to the point where.
Yeah. Same here. It's, you know what I mean.
But I've talked to people who have. So
yeah.
I
mean, I remote view. I do other things, and I'm always a step ahead. If I know I'm going to go someplace on an investigation, I'm going to go forward. I'm going to remote view, and I know I get a good idea what I'm going to get up against. But there's sometimes where it's not necessarily you getting, like go back or yell or, just where the limit is.
Right.
And they know that you know it. And so they respect you that you're going to go back. And I've done that a couple of times. It's like, you know what? Tonight feels a little bit more like don't push your luck.
I've learned that, I turn, it's not worth it. So, I turn around and go. Yeah. I mean, because you respect that. I feel like that it's important to have that kind of respect.
Well, and the rapport that I've got built with the group in my area is in a conservation area, and it's a public area, and they're used to hunters and nuts like me or whoever, but I've got an idea in that conservation area where their inner circle might be, but I don't go pursue it.
No,
I don't go pursue it because I respect that.
Yeah.
And
right.
They usually will come and wherever I'm at, and I'll get some interactions a lot of times, but I'm not going to go to where I think that might be because I'll probably blow whatever I built or who knows what the reactions are going to be.
Shouldn't you consider it like your home, right? I know there's a home there and there's this big front yard and I'm pretty sure people are there. But if someone comes up to your front door and you don't know who they are, they're not going to be as nice as if you were by the fence going, excuse me, You're
not going to let them in your house if you don't know them.
You're not.
So because people ask me, I say, I'm not going to pursue that because
feel free, go ahead. Always bring someone that doesn't run as fast as you. Go ahead. I'm only playing around.
And the funny thing in this particular conservation area, they do have posted signs for whatever reason that this is a restricted area. Keep out.
They know.
That's interesting. I want to make you you.
It's like, okay.
Tell me there's a Bigfoot in the area without telling me there's a Bigfoot in the area. Restricted area. You can see it when you go to some places. Like we drove over to the West Coast around, but just before Thanksgiving, because in Florida they do this thing. It's kind of like tubing, a sled tube, and made like
Yes.
a winter wonderland. It's really small. It's in like a town that once is no longer, but it was nice. And we're going through some of the rural roads of Florida, which I'm
Right.
smiling because I grew up on those 2-lane roads like in other states. And you're
Yes.
like, that's squatchy, that's squatchy.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
and you just
Oh, yeah.
see all the places. And I'm one of those guys that will casually like, oh, you're from here, huh? You ever have any stories of Wildman or Bigfoot, skunk ape? I'll say it.
I will
And
too.
you'll
Yep.
get some of the they'll talk. Some of the old people will talk to you.
How are you gonna find out? I mean, you're not gonna know if you don't ask. And
You
I
have
will
Always
to
ask.
ask.
I'll
You
have
have to
people
ask.
like, "Shh, don't do it again. Be quiet."
Yeah,
But
I mean,
I'm gonna ask.
it's just what I do and how I do it, and I guess I have a good vibe about me because it's really funny. A lot of people always come to me, talk to the like, hey, they so and so said you're good to talk to. I'm like, oh crap, more problems. Yeah, but I mean, it's good and it's bad. It's a curse.
Yeah.
And my wife's like, kids love you and dogs love you, animals love you, and I'm like, my niece, I play with her on her level when she was little.
Yeah.
I let her do the stupid things that you would do.
Right.
I mean, and
Exactly.
I love that kid to death. I mean, I remember since a baby, they used to use me as bait. Like, if you're not good, you're not going to go see Uncle Brian. And she would, straighten up. But there's something about it. If you ask it the right way, or you want to ask somebody that normally is not getting the people asking them stuff because they're starving to have a conversation.
Right. They are. They just don't know
So
who to or how.
yeah. So I mean, I used to do that when I worked for the International Monetary Fund, World Bank. One of my first gigs, and I was at the United Nations. I hate that place. I'm coming out in this big room, and there's a really old security guard there. And I said, you must have some really good stories to tell. He was really stern. And he was like, oh, someone's taking an interest in me. I'm like, yep. And he told me some stuff that was out of control awesome.
Yeah.
He's seen a lot of good stuff.
Well,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Nobody talks to. So
Yeah. It's ask the right people.
that's really cool.
I tell you, my wife's a college professor, and we had one of her functions a week ago Friday night, and yeah, I get the okay, don't come with her people, don't bring up Bigfoot, which I probably wouldn't anyway because it's not. So we're there, and I'm intermingling, and it didn't take long for one of her colleagues to say, well, Mike, when's the last time you've been out in the woods? I said, I turned around, looked at him, I said, he just opened the door.
Yeah, I've been had that conversation. Went to my cousin's house for he did this like after the year party end of summer thing. He worked in the airline industry, and so everybody there is going to be. They were pilots, air stewardesses, people in the industry. And my wife's like, listen, don't talk about the weird stuff.
Yeah.
No problem. And there's no way in hell I'm going to have 6 or 7 pilots on different airlines, different craft, and not go. So you see any UFOs up there?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you bet your ass them. And I just mentioned to, like a small group, by the time it was over, they went like, hey, Bob, come here. Yeah. Tell them what you saw the other day. And my wife is just like,
oh my God.
And I'm like, I think, Chris, Al Santoriga, right?
Right.
Whatever. So Al and I investigate a lot, and with Bronxville Paranormal Society. So I got invited to his daughter's wedding. It's an honor. And we were there. He goes, listen, don't do anything paranormal. So there he is. I'm on the aisle right next to where the bride walks down. And Al's coming over and they're carrying his daughter and his wife are there and they're bringing her up to her future husband. And as he passes, I go, psst, and I pull out of my pocket a K2 meter. And he laughs. He goes, put it away. Yeah.
That's good.
It's funny.
You got to have
Did you
some stuff on you.
get any readings?
Say again?
Did you get the readings on the K2?
No. I just did it as a joke. But I used to keep K2 meter in my car because we would do like the Parents Association, and I'm originally in New York City, born and raised, and they would go to some areas, and there's a place at I forgot the name of it's in the Bronx right before Yonkers. It's the Mount St. Vincent, and it's a college of Mount St. Vincent, and it used to be a monastery. So there is a theater on there, and there's a ghost in there. I forgot her name. And if you do not say, hi, Carolyn, hey, we're here, Carolyn, how are you? And greet her and then say goodbye, bad things happen. Like you literally will break a leg because she'll push you or they'll trip you or whatever. And then I found out from a security guard there.
I don't want to go there.
There's a place at the other end of the property. He goes, you see that area? Because I think he recognized me. I did a couple of shows at one point. And he goes, see that building down there? I'm like, yeah. Well, that used to be for an orphanage. And there was a priest that was a serial killer. And he was killing little kids and beheading them. And I was like, like that kind of like, he goes, and you can hear them. You can hear the kids screaming, and you could see the headless body of the priest.
Oh, wow!
Let me, like I said, like not to say your ex is as whatever, but you never truly know who you're dealing with.
Oh, you don't.
Nope.
You don't. Wow.
So
Ridiculous. That's
K2
terrible.
meter in check.
Yeah, right?
You have to at that point.
It's a good thing that
Yes. But
I definitely keep things like that in the car with me. Because
I have a bunch of stuff, I'll tell you what, the phone, because I'm using it, I can't use it. There was a couple of really, really good applications that work really well. And I vetted a bunch of them,
let us.
There's, I think it's one of them. It was built as for entertainment purposes, but I tell you the truth, I've used it numerous times and it's been spot on from other equipment that I paid a lot more money for at the time.
Mhm.
Spot on, same results, even sometimes better. Called Ghost Radar, and it works. Yeah, this is before, like the phones would recognize, like oh, there's another one on that app. We'll ping it and have it wake up.
Right.
And I usually go to airplane mode on whenever I'm all the time.
Yeah.
So I want nothing else coming in.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should try some of these apps.
Ghost Radar. What's another one? What would your number 2 be?
There was an app called M2 that it offered like 10 different type of like there was something very similar to the SLS, the
Right.
Connect,
Mhm.
pretty accurate.
Cool. Okay.
Like really, really accurate. And I mean, I can give a list to them. I don't even remember because I don't really, I gotta be honest, I don't really do that much ghost hunting anymore.
No.
I don't really need to. I can kind of talk to them to a degree.
Yeah.
And if they want something, I'll tell you, like, if we're out, let's say we're all out on an investigation, I'll be like, we have company, and I'll tell you we have company, and I'll see the company, and sometimes they'll talk to me, and I'll tell you, like, this is what they're saying, and it's kind of cool. So, the human body is its own ghost detector.
It is. So I can do that as well.
Yeah.
And I can do the same thing. I can see them, you know, and I can hear them. They do talk to me.
Yeah.
And
It's
I can
do they do the vocal talk where you're actually getting vocal plus
in my
the
head.
other? Yeah.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I see them. I get visuals.
Yep.
Sometimes it's just the visuals, but sometimes it's a whole scene. Um,
Yep. I'm
when
with
I
you.
do,
Keep going.
yeah, I've done the Gonspiel method in this one place that I get a lot of visuals and stuff, and
Right.
that was interesting. So, yeah, that was more intense, but yeah, that's kind of how I see things too.
Well,
Um,
I've always been in places like where you're sitting there and you can hear like Brian, like you're like
yeah,
someone called my
yeah,
wasn't because I lived in a populated area. I was 7 stories up when I heard a lot of this stuff, and
right.
then one of my friends that I met at work, really good guy, loved him to death. We during COVID we were chatting all the time, making plans to go out to Montana with him. We were looking to buy a place in Florida. Uh, Amazing soul, and we would talk all this esoteric stuff and spiritual and whatever. And he was, he was having some really weird nightmares about, him burning up in a fire or being surrounded by fire. He thought it was demons. So he became very much more religious, and he was reading all the time. And he said, sometimes when I pray, I feel this vibration and I feel this energy, and it kind of comes over me. And before I can get totally around, I break away from it because it scares me. And I said, Rob, what you're doing is connecting brain, body, mind, heart, soul. You want
Mm-hmm.
it to happen, and then you go up to a higher level, right? So I got him off the scared ledge. It's not demonic. It's not anything. But long story short, he wasn't feeling well, and I told him, "Listen, Rob, if you don't go," he was 6'7". I said, "If you don't go to the doctor, go to a doc in the box like an emergent care right now. I'm going to drive out to your house. I'm going to drag your ass out of the house, and I'm going to take you."
Mm-hmm.
So he called his brother, and his brother took him to his own doctor, and the doctor looked at him and said, "No, take him to the hospital."
Uh-oh.
And he wound up having cancer on his brain and his spine and in his lungs, like stage 4, done.
Oh, wow.
So he was young. He was fairly young. I think it was his 43rd, 43 years old.
Right.
And they tried everything. I was talking to him every day. I'm like, love you, man. I love you. I go, how you doing? The Wednesday, he said, I'm scared. I said, yes, I know you are. I love you. You're going to be better. Stay positive. Put your faith back in God. He will never steer you wrong. And that was the last I heard from him. And later that night, I got up and I had a railroad kitchen in my apartment. I'm 7 stories up. Everybody's sleeping. So I got up to go out of the kitchen to use their facilities. And as I'm turning the corner, I could have I saw him. I saw him smiling, standing there smiling. And I looked enough to do a double take. And I
Right.
said, no, I was just talking to him, whatever. I had a feeling he died that night. So Friday comes and I get a strange number on my phone. And I don't normally answer unknown numbers. And something said, pick this up. It was his sister. He passed away that Wednesday night. And
Wow.
I knew. I just, internally, when you have these abilities, you just know these things. And she
You do.
invited me to his service. And, they had a viewing, I think it is,
Mm-hmm.
for a day. It was Saturday. And that Sunday, which was his birthday, would have been his 44th birthday. I
Wow.
said, "Oh, I'm standing there with meeting his parents. They said, he really loved you. He talked to of all the conversations he used to have. I mean, he really thought you were great. I was one of the very few people he wanted to be there, and I met some of his other friends. So I'm standing there, and it happens to be in an area in upstate New York where not too far from there is Bigfoot country, UFOs, stone chambers. So I'm going to be there all the time. So I'm thinking, you know what? If I come up here, I'll come stop and visit him at the cemetery and say hi. You
Right.
could reconnect that way. And that's where his his mom and brother got up there and said, thank you very much for coming and paying homage to my son, Rob. We miss him a lot. Tomorrow we'll be cremating him, and that will be private. And then I got it. In one of the dreams, he said he wakes up and there's a ring of fire around him.
Mhm.
He saw his cremation.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we were really, really tight. So, like, about a year later, I came into my apartment in New York, and I'm thinking about him, and I missed those conversations. I missed that friendship, and I'm like, I just say, just by myself, like, man, Rob, I hope you're okay. You're doing all right. I miss you. And I heard his voice. I miss you too, bud. And I'm like, okay, I'm making that up. And he's like, no, you're not. I miss you too. And I'm like, that is you. He says, yeah. I said, how is it? It's like I thought it would be. Just want to say hi. And I'm like, so that was the first time that I was really, really registered that. So I called one of my friends up who's a pretty good psychic, really good, actually. Well, was. Kind of had some issues. And I said, told her what was happening. She goes, oh my God, that you have Claire audio. And I said, I don't know who Claire is, but she can keep her fucking audio. I mean, like, Claire, you can have it. But yeah, no, so I have that. And it's weird when it happens. You'll get,
Yeah.
and then, so you'll actually like, you can hear like someone's talking to you or mumbling. But,
Yeah.
but the best part is when, well, like you said, when you can hear it in your head or your mind's eye, and you know exactly what they're saying. They're moving their lips and you're hearing them.
Yes, you are.
It's the weirdest thing in the world. But yeah, I've used that. I'm hoping to get a Bigfoot to do that, to stand there.
When you're around people, you can't tell them that. Like,
No.
I hear, who is this? You can't say that.
Yeah,
So,
no. I don't reveal anything. I'll tell you, I don't read anybody, or it's your business. If you come to me, I'll do it. But I'm
yeah.
not paying attention. I'm actually doing a lot more blocking.
Yes.
But the only ones I read are my two daughters and whoever they bring over to the house.
Nice.
I'm sorry, but
Smart.
I'm going to read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my youngest is gifted too, and she goes, "How do you know every time I'm doing something, you're always there?"
Yes.
And I said,
I know.
"Ancient Chinese secret, huh?"
An extra eye in the back of my head.
She does it. I explained everything to her. I said, she was having an issue, and I said, I'm a human lie detector.
Right, there you
And
go.
she said, and I said, she thought I was joking. She's very intuitive. She says things that will blow your mind.
Yes.
She's an earth angel. She saved my life. I'm not kidding when I say it.
Right.
And I explained it to her, like when someone's telling me a story or they're talking, I see it play out in my head. If it's true.
Yeah.
Then when you meet people, like when you're hanging out with some friends, guys, and you tell a story, and then, one of your buddies tries to well, he doesn't have much, but he makes something up. Well, that usually it's black. I know they're making it up.
You can tell.
But I don't, come on. I'm not there to point out, oh, that's all a lie. I'm like, you could say phase 2. We're all hanging. We're just being who we are. But I told her that. So she asked me to, about some of her friends, and I told her about every one of them. Boom, boom, boom. And my other half was here, and she's like, well, no. She's like, and my daughter went, no, Mom, he's spot on. He's right about it all. She goes, you are psychic. And I said, yeah. So don't try any crap with me.
Right. See, just like Bigfoot. I should have listened.
Yeah, well, it's partially a gift, and it's a lot more of a curse.
It is. I agree. Why can't I do it to myself? Why?
I'm still trying for the Powerball numbers and the Mega Millions. So
What do you do?
I get it. You'll know. I'll be
What?
Yeah,
broadcasting live from my Lamborghini.
Don't tell anybody.
Any last words for we wrap up, everybody?
Yeah, I just throw in here. This is my first time with Cindy and
Brian?
Brian.
Brian. Oh
Brian.
yeah, that's me, Brian.
Yeah, and I just enjoy just sitting and listening to you guys share your info and talk and learning from you guys, and it's been awesome. So
I appreciate it. I love meeting you as well, Mike. And I thank Grizzly for bringing me into the fold.
yes, welcome.
And like I said, I'm doing a show coming, the new year. I'm just making it the new year. It'll be from 8 to 9 on Wednesdays, but I'm gonna hop back on. If we don't go past 9, just send me the link and you'll see me
Yes,
in the
sir.
bottom going like this,
Yes, sir.
So yeah, would love to have everybody else on too, as you guys on, because
that'd be
it's a
wonderful.
different type of show. It's not like your normal. It's not really going to be a paranormal show. I'm trying to leave people with some positive vibes in these trying times. So that's what I'm looking for.
Oh yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
but I've enjoyed
Yeah.
it. I've enjoyed just sitting and listening and learning and I don't really have any new information, and most of these audience have heard things I've had to say, so I've just kind of enjoyed the evening. So
Great.
I do, and I do learn. I learn things from Brian, so that's wonderful.
Vice
Because,
versa,
yeah, it's great insight, and it's just interesting to to be able to speak on people on a level with people who understand and who
Amen.
Isn't that true?
to start from square one with.
Yeah.
It's good. So
It makes it so much easier. You don't have to it's like when you meet new people, like whoever your spouse or whatever, like,
right.
oh God, I want to date them. I'm done with dating, because it's like dating when you make friends with somebody. Like, oh, you like the Die Hard movie too? Okay, you want to go play pool? Okay, it's dating, and you don't have to go through the whole thing. I bought you this. I bought you a cheeseburger. Whatever it is. So it's nice. It's refreshing just to be able to just go, oh my God, that happened to you too. Cool. Let's compare notes.
Right.
maybe teach the masses. So.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Good night. Have a good one. Bye.
Good night. Be
Good
well.
night, everybody.
Good week.
Very